Hello, and welcome to AP Table Talk, a podcast where we explore board games and what makes them interesting to us. As always, I'm your host, Brian, and if this were a board game, my character would have a unique ability to misread rules. My co-host, well, he'd just watch it happen. Joining me as always, Dave Ing.
See, what I like to do, Brian, is when reading the rules, I'll skip over a specific paragraph accidentally. Yes. Or to diverge for a moment, I want to bring up my friend Chris Ramsey, who you met in past PAXs.
Yes.
He and his husband were trying to learn On Mars by Vital Lacerda, and they were teaching themselves at PAX, and Chris skipped a whole page. So when he was playing, he was like, this makes no sense. Why would I do this? And then only after the fact, he was like, we skipped the whole page. That's why it made no sense.
I think that when we're trying to rush learn, I'll read like the beginning first few words of a paragraph. And if I think I know what it means, I just skip the rest of the paragraph.
Well, that is skimming, and it's usually not bad. But if it has the critical stuff in it that you skip, then that is bad.
Yes. And for our viewers, in preparation for this episode, we did that a few times in learning to play, what was it?
Money?
Fate of the Fellowship.
Oh, Fate of the Fellowship.
Right?
No, I read the whole rule book.
Oh, okay. No. I definitely skipped.
Well, you know what? We talked about this before. Like I started with the Rodney video, would watch it played. I was like, okay, this is good. This is a pretty good explanation. I generally like his explanation videos. I'm like, oh wait, this video is almost an hour. Do I really want to watch this whole thing? I'm like, I'm just gonna read the book. Just read the book.
Yeah. I should have. I watched the video, but when the video is too long, I have a problem focusing. I would have been better to read it, but then I was out of time at that point. So
yeah. Well, we'll bring that up when we cover.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So Anyways, actually, to bring up our episode topic, this episode is we'll be discussing variable player powers.
Yes, that is true. Variable player powers. And what we've done in the past is, Bri, you'll give your personal definition, and then I will read the one that's officially on Board Game Geek BGG.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So this one is fairly self-explanatory, I feel. So I think of variable player powers. I think of essentially each player has some different ability or trait that kind of allows them to explore different strategies or strengths or weaknesses differently than the other players. Now, for myself, I kind of exclude games where you start the same and then you take different upgrade paths. I consider that a little bit different than variable player powers. I know it turns into having variable player powers, but I don't consider that as so much variable player powers.
Right. That's a little bit like going back to our Tech Trees episode with Eclipse. No, not Eclipse. What am I talking about?
Beyond the Sun. Yes, that's the one that comes to mind, actually, is where you end up drastically different. But
I mean, that game is basically a tech tree with a game wrapped around it, right?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
We should go back to playing that. That would be a good one.
We should. Yeah. That was a good one for BGA, actually.
So that's your personal definition, Bryce? Should I read?
Yes, that's my personal. So go ahead and see how it stacks up.
All right. So the one that's officially on BGG, BoardGameGeek.com, is, quote, variable player powers is a mechanic that grants different abilities and or paths to victory to players. In Ogre, one player controls a single powerful piece and the others play many weaker units. The net effect is a balanced game. In Cosmic Encounter, each player is assigned a random special ability at the beginning of the game. Although each player has the same victory goal, establish colonies on 5 planets and other player systems, their abilities enable differing means to the end. In Here I Stand, each player controls a political power with unique ways to score victory points. Some focus on military conquest, some on religious influence, etc. Player powers may change throughout the game, as in Small World or Sunrise City, end quote. So this is a pretty robust definition, and they actually cite some specific games.
They gave a bunch of examples and stuff. They did our job for us there.
Well, not wholly, not completely. I mean, I still got a lot of opinions to share on this.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
They brought up some good points, like different. Even though I kind of drove down a little bit on what I thought variable player powers, there is different ways of implementing that, and they talked about it a little bit. Like you could have you can have cooperative games where you have different things. So you have this a unique goal. Each person can have a competitive goal that's the same. But there are games too that I would consider variable player powers where even your win conditions can be different.
Right. And we will definitely talk about that.
Yeah, we'll explore those things. Right. All right. So I guess we'll move on to our examples then.
Yes. If you are listening to AP Table Talk for the first time, in this section of the show, we like to list major examples. So the three categories are first game we played with variable player powers, our favorite game, and then the last one is most noteworthy or biggest. And Bri, we are going to roll our D20s to see who leads off. Is that right?
All right. I'm ready.
All right. So we got a D20s in hand. On the count of three, we'll roll. 3, 2, 1, roll. All right. I
got a
16. 8. Oh, 8.
All right.
Okay. 16 is traditionally larger than 8, so I'll go first. Okay. So I want to start off with this, Brian, because this is how I organize this.
Okay.
So I am going to separate, when I was researching for this episode, I'm going to separate games into two different categories for variable player powers.
Okay.
I'm separating them into games that have variable player powers, but what I'm calling symmetrical gameplay. So players have different things that they can do, but overall the core loop of the game is the same. As opposed to variable player powers and asymmetrical gameplay, which we'll get into some examples here.
Yeah, I think I know what you're hinting at there, but
right. Yeah, and I'm hoping we can spend some good discussion on this because I think this is like a very large part of the variable player powers mechanic.
Right. Actually, yeah. You know what? That's a good point. When I get to my first example, might be one that
we might
be debatable. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. I don't think we share it, but we may have some crossover though. I don't think we share this first one at least.
There's definitely at least one we share. I know that. I went through all these games and I'm like, oh man, there's so many variable player power games, but I guarantee we share one. So anyway, so I wanted to say that. So my first game that I played with variable player powers that are symmetrical is Pandemic.
Okay.
And my first game I played with variable player powers that is asymmetric is Vast: The Crystal Caverns. We played that, I think, at PAX East a number of years ago. I don't remember when. They all merged together now.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, well, why don't you talk about those a little bit before I get into mine?
So Pandemic, if you've never played Pandemic before, is like the cooperative game, and probably one of the games that spurred the modern popularity tabletop games. And
definitely a contributor to the modern renaissance of board gaming.
Matt Leacock. It's a cooperative game. It's about stopping the spread of viruses throughout the globe. But in Pandemic, each player has a different character that has a different set of abilities. Like one character can move other characters around the board when it's not their turn. Another character can better stop the spread of diseases in specific cities. And it's really interesting because you all are working towards the same goal of stopping the spread of diseases. But in Pandemic, with the individual player powers, you all are very good at, each individual player is good at doing one specific thing. Conversely, with Vast: The Crystal Caverns, and I say this is asymmetrical gameplay because this is the first game I ever played that was like this. I'm trying to remember each individual character in Vast, but there's the bunch.
Well, especially with the expansions.
Oh yeah, I don't even remember the expansions.
I don't know which ones are which, but yeah.
But I definitely know there's the cave. The cave is a character.
There's the cave. There's the dragon.
The dragon. There's the knight, I think.
I think so. There's the goblins.
The goblins. It was the dragon is trying to defend the treasure. The goblins are trying to steal the treasure. The knight is trying to
kill the dragon
or kill the goblins. I forget. It's been years.
I care. Yeah.
And then the cave is trying to kill everyone.
Yeah.
So that was the first game I was like, oh man, this is really interesting because it's it's a completely different game for each individual character.
I would say that it was very unique when it came out. It was there was nothing really. There's not really anything else like it at the time.
No, it was completely unique when I first played it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and so sorry, when did Vast 2016? I think Vast came out somewhere around there.
Look it up online.
Yeah,
it was not recent.
2016.
Yeah, 2016.
Yeah, and I don't think there was anything like that prior to that. Okay. So I did not separate mine like that, but I will put an asterisk on mine is that I tried to pick games where the variable player powers are kind of a defining characteristic of the game.
Okay.
So for first game, I kind of have one where it kind of falls in, but I didn't pick it as my primary. So I have HeroQuest, I think, is technically the first board game that was variable player powers. So that's basically your dungeon crawler game. You have you have players playing each of your stereotypical archetypes for dungeon crawler, for RPGs. You have a knight, a wizard, a thief. I don't remember what the
HeroQuest is the game that recently got a reprint, right? It was like a classic game. Okay.
Yeah,
this is the one you
yeah.
also forced your mom to play?
She got it for me not knowing that you had to have friends to play it. So
I just remember you got it as a kid and you're like, no one else would play with me, so I play with my mom.
Actually, you know what? It does have a little bit of what we talked about, because one player is the dungeon master.
Yeah.
So their goal is to stop all the heroes. The heroes is to get through whatever the quest is. It give you a book of quests with all the maps and all that stuff, and it's pretty cool. So in that aspect, like, the players all have a similar goals and rule sets, and it's just their stats and abilities are different. Right. And then the one player who's playing the dungeon master has a kind of a separate game almost. So I guess it kind of falls into what we were talking about. Yeah. But the game where I feel that, like, the variable player powers is kind of highlighted, that is the first one I could think of is same year as Pandemic, actually, is Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, yep.
Okay, so in that game, so it's I wouldn't call it a variant, but I think Shadows over Camelot was kind of the first big one that kind of had has the trader big focus on the trader mechanic. So for those familiar with the remake show Battlestar Galactica, you play crew members on Battlestar Galactica. You're trying to get home, but certain people might be secret Cylons who are trying to sabotage everyone. So everyone gets to choose characters in the beginning, and each of the characters has, like, thematic abilities, which give them, like, unique bonuses. But what was interesting too is that they balanced that, where each character also had a negative trait.
I don't remember that. Okay.
So for example, Starbuck, who's like kind of the main character of the show, so she's the hotshot pilot. So she gets an extra action if she starts her turn in in the Viper, which is the fighters. But her counter is that, in the show, she's kind of insubordinate. So there is, because you don't know who, so a big part of the game is kind of like suspecting and accusing people of being the Cylons. And if you think they're the Cylons, one action you can take is to vote them to go into the brig as an action, and then everyone has to kind of vote using these there's like skill cards you get, so each character gets a different types of skill cards, and then each action takes certain numbers of skill cards in order for it to pass. So you're playing those in for everything that happens face down, so you don't know who's playing what, so that the Cylons can kind of sabotage things. Right. But because she's insubordinate, the action to put her into the brig, it takes less. It's easier to pass that action.
Oh, I see.
So that's her negative trait. Or like Adama, who is the captain of Battlestar Galactica, or like the admiral. So he's like he has like command authority. So he can, in a skill check, he can choose one color of the skill card. So there's 5 different colors that they have, and he can make that color count towards it being successful no matter what, whether it was part of what it's supposed to be or not.
Oh, okay.
But so in the show, though, one of his weaknesses in the show, one of the things that is exploited of his character is the fact that he is emotionally attached to the crew. So he may make questionable judgment based on that. And so he can't use the Admiral's quarters, which is the action to put people into the brig.
The admiral being in admiral's quarters is the action to put people.
Yeah, like because you move around the ship. So
I see.
If you're in the admiral's quarters, the action that you can do there is to vote somebody into the brig.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're playing as Adama, he can't use that action.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right. So that's the example. Now, and my favorite character, and the best character in the new show, with Gaius Baltar, who in the show, I mean, he's supposed to be. So spoilers, all this is like a 20-year-old show now.
Yeah.
He's the bad guy. But
we don't know
he's just played so well. I mean, if you watch the original, he's like a twirly mustache bad guy. Like it's immediate that he is the bad guy. But he's just kind of like a very selfish person.
Yeah.
And he basically betrays humanity to the Cylons because he's selfish.
Yeah.
But he's also like supposed to be a really smart scientist guy who just he's just like a coward though, right?
Yeah.
So he has a few bonuses, like he can when he draws his, so again, each character has a specific cards they draw based on their skills, but because he's this genius, he can draw one card of any of the skills that he wants each time he draws cards.
Okay.
Because he's like a jack of all trades kind of thing.
Yeah.
He also builds a Cylon detector, or to make himself appear useful in the show, he claims to build a Cylon detector. So you have a Cylon detector, which allows you to, so the way that you decide your Cylon at the beginning of the game, everyone is dealt loyalty cards, and they say whether you're a Cylon or not a Cylon. And depending on the player count will depend on how many Cylons there are. As his action on his turn, he can take someone's, once per game, he can look at somebody's loyalty cards. He can't show anybody, but he can look at them.
Yeah.
And then it's whether or not he can tell the group whatever he wants. He might be the Cylon. And again, this is balanced out with the fact that his negative trait is that at the beginning of the game, he draws 2 loyalty cards instead of 1.
And
so it increases
right?
the chance. No. If you get a Cylon card, it overrides any other card that you have.
Oh, I see.
So he has double the chance to be a Cylon. So you are supposed, so you have a higher suspect chance that he is a Cylon, but he's also the person who has the Cylon detector. So it just creates interesting negotiations and social dynamics there. Which
it's so it's been a while, Brian, since we played that, because I remember we played that. It was again at the PAX East.
Yeah,
it was in the basement of that hotel. But I forget that, like, because thinking in this episode, I was like, variable player powers. Yeah, there's like a thing that your character can do that no other character can do that's usually good. But I never thought about it in the negative.
Yeah, and that's why I thought this was an interesting example as well, because usually, you're thinking of everybody has a power, right? But this one was interesting because they balance out the power with also everyone has a negative trait.
Right.
Which I thought was interesting. Okay, so that was my first game. Well, I mean, HeroQuest or that, but I felt like that one focused more on the variable player powers.
All right. Should we go on to favorite now?
Yeah, let's do favorite. So
all right, and I'll go with the. All right. So again, separating them into symmetrical and asymmetrical play.
Okay.
My favorite symmetrical variable player power game is Alien: Fate of the Nostromo.
Okay.
And my favorite variable player power game that is asymmetrical is Star Wars Rebellion. So, like, we're staying on the space theme. We talked about Battlestar Galactica, Alien: Fate of the Nostromo. I don't think you and I, Brian, we've played it together.
I've never played that game. I've played Rebellion, but I have not played Alien.
It's very thematic, which is what I really like. It's thematic. Yeah. It is.
I know you love the Alien series as well.
I love the Alien series. I love the Alien movies. Highly thematic. It's supposed to replicate the very first Alien, 1979. And you are playing as one of the original crew members, except for, spoiler alert, Kane, because Kane is killed at this point. And you don't play as Ash, who is the synthetic android, because the synthetic android is actually playing against you. So the whole role of the game is you need to collect parts in order to fulfill a mission, which is, all the missions are thematic for the movie. So you either have to like set the self-destruct sequence, or escape in the escape pod, or trap the alien, or get the alien out, or like leave the ship, but also don't forget to bring the cat Jonesy. And like each character has like their own, like the Captain Dallas has no special ability, I think, but has extra action points.
Okay.
Brett, who I think is the engineer, he has like he can craft things more easily. And overall, I just think it's like if you like Alien and you like to play like really thematic games, this is definitely the one for you. And I remember playing it at my friend's house back in March, and we're both big Alien fans, and I thought that was a really good thematic game. And then my second one, Star Wars Rebellion, Bri, you and I played, and that
Yeah,
was the last time we played.
I've played this a couple times actually.
Oh, okay. But you played
So
it not with me, and you played the physical version, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And we've played it together
Yep.
digitally, and then yeah, I've played the physical as well.
I've never played the physical version, although I think it would be really fun to play the physical version, but
There's a lot going on.
there is a
that
lot
board,
going on. And I remember you explaining it to me, and again, I was still kind of new, like I didn't really know exactly how Star Wars Rebellion worked. But I like the fact that like it's a lot like Twilight Struggle in that it's very much like the cat and mouse game because as the Empire, you're trying to find the rebel base and eliminate it. And
Mhm.
as the rebels, you're trying to destroy the Death Star, right? That's the main
Yes,
objective. Yeah,
yes.
yeah. And basically it's kind of just like the rebels are really like scrappy, but they're hidden. They're not very powerful, but
Mhm.
they can hide. Whereas the Empire is like super powerful because you're just like churning out ships and
Yeah.
stormtroopers and TIE fighters, and you're like spreading out throughout the galaxy. And I just thought it was really interesting in that like yeah, the rebels are kind of at a disadvantage if you try to go toe to toe with the Empire. But then
Mhm.
the strategy is, hey, don't go toe to toe with the Empire. Like do hit and run and like hide in
Right.
systems and
Yes.
other
Yeah.
stuff.
You're
That's what I
definitely
really
like
like.
going the guerrilla warfare, and the thing I like too, it really embodied that line. Oh, it'll be bad if I get this wrong
Oh no.
as a Star Wars fan that I am, but I think it's Leia that
Yeah.
says to Tarkin, like,
Mhm.
the more you tighten your grip, the more squeeze through your fingers.
Oh, the more systems will
Um,
fall through your fingers.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I feel that game embodies that because as the Empire side, you have to kind of cover all these planets
Hmm.
and check them all, and you do have a lot of forces, but as you start to spread thin, it lets the rebels just poke through in weak points and things like that, and
Yeah.
it really
Yeah.
embodies that feeling in the theme.
Yeah. Both of these games I think are really highly thematic, but that's my vote for favorite.
So I know that Rebellion was a longer game.
Hmm.
What's the like weight and length of the Alien game?
Alien game. Um, I mean, I could look it up, but if I had to give you,
If you compared it to Rebellion,
oh, it's a lot lighter than
a
Rebellion.
lot lighter.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
have that game?
Alien Fate in the Show? I do
Yeah.
not. My
Oh,
friend
I'm
has it. We
surprised.
played his copy.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's because it's a cooperative game, and like
So
how we feel about
yeah,
cooperative games. But I really like the theme of it, so I've been trying to acquire it if
I'm
I
at
can.
yeah. I was wondering if you can get. I'm asking selfishly so that we can get it to the table.
So we can play it. Well, I mean, maybe
Sounds
at the next
interesting.
con. I mean, it'll
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
be in the
maybe.
library or something. It's
Right,
pretty
right.
popular, and it's in print. Like they sell it at Target. It's
Right.
like a mass
Yeah.
mass market.
Oh, okay. I'll definitely have to add that to my want to
Yeah.
play list. So,
It's good.
all right. So I'll move on to my favorite here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I've talked about this one on the podcast before,
Hmm.
and this is Rising Sun,
Yep.
Eric Lang's second big one. So again, kind of a dudes on the map game,
Hmm.
kind of typical area control, fighting battles, things. But what makes it unique is that the clans have very powerful different abilities that really make their strategies unique.
Hmm.
So for example, the Koi clan, so when you're battling, one of the phases is that you can hire, so it's all like samurai themed.
Yep.
And one of the phases of going into battle is you can use coins to hire Ronin.
Hmm.
Actually, sorry. I think you actually have to do that ahead of time. I can't remember the steps now, but the Koi clan, basically all of their coins can be Ronin at any
Yep.
time.
Hmm.
So they can just sway the battle with money at any time. And then at the end of battle, any Ronin that they have become coins so that they're interchangeable for the Koi clan.
Hmm.
The Bonsai clan, their power is that when they buy, so there are these season cards which allow you to buy different types of troops and things like that, or they actually give you different abilities too, like they can give you discounts. All of their purchases can cost a maximum of 1 coin, regardless of
okay.
the cost.
All
So, and that comes before any other discounts because you can get a power that discounts things. So if you get that discount, then everything just becomes free.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The Dragonfly clan has no movement restrictions. They can move anywhere on the map. And that includes that so normally when you summon units to put onto the map, they have to be built by your fortresses. Theirs can just be summoned anywhere as part of their no restrictions to movement. Right. The Turtle Clan, which is
my favorite,
has the coolest minis. Yeah. So their strongholds are built on the backs of these giant turtles, and what they act like units. They can move around the board like a unit. They also count as a force in battles, and they can't be taken hostage. They can't be killed, and there is a betrayal mechanic in Rising Sun, which allows you to swap units out, and they can't be swapped out. So they become very powerful units in the game. And then the last one is that I can remember is the Lotus Clan. I never remember the expansion clans, so we don't use them. But the Lotus Clan, who can action. It's kind of an action selection game, and what you do is you draw these tiles at the beginning of your turn. I think you get 4 tiles, and you can choose one of the tiles, and then the rest go back. And then you have to pick an action out of that everyone can follow, or you and your ally can follow. No, everyone can follow, and you get a strong. It's like
your ally does it for free?
Puerto Rico. Oh, okay. Your ally gets the bonus that you get. It's like Puerto Rico. The person who selects gets a better version of the action, and everyone else gets the normal. Your ally also gets the better version. So the Lotus Clan, when they look at the 4, they take 1, but they put it face down, and they can just say whatever mandate they want. They can just say whatever action they want. So it makes them a strong ally because they can always just do the action that would be best. But they can also always just betray you because they can just do it at any time they want instead of having to draw the betray action.
Right.
So yeah. It really leads to interesting, and alliances plays a big part in that game. So the different abilities create interesting like timing and negotiating for when you want to ally, when you want to break alliances, and things like that. And it was one of those ones also that like the powers seemed so powerful that they would break the game, but because everyone's is so powerful, it kind of doesn't work that way. And I mean, negotiation always mitigates that.
Right. And I think that this brings up a good point, and something that I wrote down in my notes is that for a lot of these games, which I feel like are symmetrical but have these, like one very powerful like player ability, it's because like that one ability is approachable because it's just like, here are the rules for the game, and these are rules everyone's got to follow, except for you. You break this one rule. This rule.
Yeah.
You only get to break this one rule, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what I appreciate about it.
And I like that too, because it's not so much overhead. Like some of them, particularly like if we think about Vast, there's a lot to learn. There's a big barrier to entry for that game.
Yeah.
Because you kind of need to know how everyone plays. Whereas a game like Rising Sun, you kind of all play the same with that one exception. So it's a little easier it keeps it on par with the games of similar weight.
Yeah, it's a lot more approachable, I feel.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was my favorite. Nice. So we'll move on to most noteworthy or the biggest game.
Okay.
A variable player power game, in your opinion?
All right. So again, splitting it up between symmetrical and asymmetrical gameplay. Most noteworthy and biggest symmetrical variable player power game for me is going to be Cosmic Encounter.
Okay.
And then asymmetrical game is going to be Sky Team. So Cosmic Encounter, I think we talked about before. I definitely know you, Bri, you have all of the Cosmic Encounter.
Yeah, I do.
Expansion content and everything. And, this is building off what we just talked about before. In that Cosmic Encounter, I think is very approachable with variable player powers because, again, it is, here are the rules for the game. Here's the goal. Everyone's got the same goal. However, you, as this one alien species, you can do this one thing that breaks the rules normally. I have not played Cosmic Encounter. I know that it's a game that I want to get on the table, especially play with you, Bri. I think that it's a game, though, that is... it needs the right player because there's a lot of table talk, right? There's going to be a lot of negotiation involved. But overall, I feel like that is the most elegant way of integrating variable player powers in that, like, you're all the rules except for you with your one alien species, this is the one rule you can break.
Absolutely. Now, I would say it's a little bit less like that because they do have some complicated aliens.
Yeah.
So they do rank all the alien races as green, yellow, or red and how
Mhm.
complicated they are, not
Mhm.
in how powerful they are.
Right.
So it does help, though, for playing with different game groups because if you have more beginner board gamers, you can make sure they just have kind of green
Yep.
alien races. But there are definitely some complicated ones. But I agree. Even regardless of player like skill, you do need the right group because it's on the borderline of you can't have people that are super competitive are not going to like that game too much.
Yeah. Because everything can be negated through negotiation.
Yeah, it's very like the fun of that game is the fact that it's so silly. Like it's just it can get so silly and crazy. I like picking like just the most silly powers.
Yeah.
And just see how things go. Okay. Yeah. So we definitely have some crossover here.
Wait, do you want me to talk about Sky Team?
Oh yeah, sorry. I forgot you had your second one. Yeah, go ahead and talk about Sky Team.
So I don't know if we share that, but Sky Team we played online. We played we talked about it before in a past episode. I forget specifically what episode we talked about Sky Team in.
Hidden information, maybe.
Anyways, maybe. Yeah.
Might have been.
But like Sky Team's another cooperative game like Pandemic from before. You both have the same goal of landing the plane, but the variable player power is that whoever is the pilot, I think, can only control the flaps, and whoever is the first officer can only control like the landing gear, and then you both
Something
have to.
Like that. Yeah. You have specific aspects that you have to kind of coordinate.
Right. Well, which I also think is funny in that we're both trying to land the plane, but we can't talk to each other. It's like, oh, don't you dare help me by giving me information. You just can't talk to each other.
Yeah.
But I feel like that is if you're going to introduce someone into a variable player power game that is asymmetrical, I think Sky Team's a really good approach to that if they're up to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoy that game a lot. I didn't have it in my biggest. Actually, I kind of forgot it. It didn't come in I didn't think about it in my list. That might have been a contender for favorite. Actually, I really enjoy that one. I don't know if it would have beat out Rising Sun, but I probably would have put it in as an honorable mention.
Yeah, Rising Sun is pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's got good table presence.
So yeah, going back to my choices here. So yes, we did have some crossover and Cosmic Encounter. So I want to talk about that because I did have kind of the precursor to Cosmic Encounter, which was the original Dune game that got a reprint in 2019, I think.
Yep.
Thanks to the new movies, giving it some popularity again. But yeah, so I'm forgetting all the exact details, but my understanding is the designers that made Dune got the idea for Cosmic Encounter basically from the races in Dune playing so differently. And not only, what's interesting, I thought the first time I saw that game is that not only do they have different abilities and different like play mechanics, they also, some of them even have different win conditions as well. Yeah. Which again, this is a game from the 70s, I think. So it was very different. Like I think the one that always was really interesting to me. So if you're familiar with the Dune franchise, the Bene Gesserit are these like psychic nuns, right? Yeah.
That's a good way of summarizing it.
You don't really know like they are pulling the strings. Like they kind of have secret alliances or whatever, and they're just pulling strings, and you don't know what their agenda is. And one of the things is at the beginning of the game. So the game takes place. There's 10 rounds. The general rules is there's 10 rounds, and you're trying to capture 3 strongholds.
Yep.
And if you can hold 3 strongholds, you win the game. And then that's the standard win condition. I think it's the Fremen. If nobody holds any strongholds, or if you reach the end of the game and nobody has won the game the standard way, the Fremen win because they are the natives of the planets. And then, but the Bene Gesserit was interesting. And again, I felt very thematic because at the beginning of the game, they choose a round that they believe the game will end in. I don't remember if they have to choose the player too. I think they choose the round and the player that they think is going to win.
Mm.
And if they can cause that to happen, they win the game instead.
Yeah.
So like, again, this game has alliances and stuff. So like you want, they're very powerful and you can ally with them. They're powerful allies. So you want to have their help, but then you have to, there's always the question is, are they helping you because they actually want to help you, or are they moving forward their own agenda? And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I've never actually played the Dune game. I know they had the remake in 2019, and then they made another version that was a more streamlined version a couple years after. And I kind of want to try that because I've heard it's a little easier to get to the table, but you still want to play with the max player count because you want everyone fulfilling each of the roles.
Right.
So I think that's the hard part for me. But
I think that I know you talked about Dune Imperium a lot, Brian, because that gets on the table a lot for you. But yeah, this game, the original Dune game from I think 1979, did come up on my radar, and I want to play it. But again, like you said, I think you have to be down for that type of game, and you also have to have all the roles fulfilled to have the best experience.
Yeah. Dune Imperium's definitely a very different kind of game.
Oh yeah.
From the original Dune.
But if you need your IP fix on Dune,
it's a great game. Just I mean, it does have variable player powers, but it's I wouldn't call it the focus. It's a very small little thing that gives you kind of a variable player power.
Right.
And then I actually had another one in there. I kind of grouped Dune and Cosmic Encounter together. And the other one I did have in the most noteworthy is Vast. And I grouped Vast and Root together. So the successor to Vast, I guess, was Root, which is still wildly popular. It's not the same type of game, but I guess it's a war game. But the same idea that the factions play drastically different. And I haven't played it that many times, but I remember like there's like the birds, the Eerie, and they have to play like a card tableau, and each time they play, they have to add another thing. But the requirement is, I think they have to do every action in their tableau, or they're like thing falls apart. They get a penalty and they have to start over. So they get more and more powerful, but they have to play every action, and that leads to like the other factions know that, so they can kind of adjust stuff to make it hard for them to do like, they have to like take a space as one of their actions, so they can move, so that they're not able to take a space or not able to move or whatever, so that their actions fall apart. And that's another one where it's like, you talk about symmetric and asymmetric. It's I describe it as you're almost playing two completely different games. You just happen to be in each other's way.
And I would say that I think that I don't know if anyone really talks about Vast anymore, like other than us for this podcast. I think a lot of people play Root.
Root took over and is I think is very popular still.
Right.
I have a lot of it, and it never gets played for that same reason that we talked about. It's that the kind of front-loaded overhead is so large that we haven't got into it, and my group doesn't meet often enough to get familiar with it. I think they would enjoy it, but I think your friends play it a lot, though, right?
Yeah.
The PAX group, at least.
Yeah, the PAX group, they played it. I mean, they played it at PAX Unplugged when we were there last. I don't know if they play it regularly, but it is like that is like a game that is right up their alley, and one that is not easy to teach, but is something that once they learn it, they want to play through all the factions, and they want to have a lot of table talk and a lot of negotiation.
Yeah, and I think that game rewards it being your regular game for your group.
Yeah, I agree. Especially since if you made that big upfront investment in time and energy to learn it.
Yeah, and I mean, kind of a tangent to that. We talked about, I forget the name of it. Maybe you'll remember the one with the different classes, the working class.
Hegemony.
Yeah, Hegemony.
Yeah.
which sound like a similar type of thing. You're kind of have very different rules in that game, the different classes. I've backed the, I guess the successor to that, World Order, which is supposed to be a little bit easier on the overhead, but the same idea. So I'll be interested to see how that plays.
Yeah,
especially not at the max player count. I want to see how it plays because I don't know how often I'll be able to get it, but but it was supposed to kind of like introduce some things to make it a little easier. So I'm hoping that's the case.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, I think that wraps up our examples.
Yeah, we're going to go to Beyond the Basics now, Brian.
Okay, and we've once again
switched up the format
a little for a little experimentation. I'll let you get into the details of that.
So if you're listening to AP Table Talk and you've been a loyal listener since the beginning, Beyond the Basics has kind of morphed from different things. So in the past few episodes, we have had it set up so that it is a debate, but we're changing up the format again. So this time we really want to not rehash things that we talked about before. So we're going to try to limit this part to 3 likes on this particular mechanic and 3 dislikes that we had. And like the other sections, we'll roll our D20 to see who goes first. And then, Brian, I think we're going to do like your first like, and my first like, and then your second like, and my second like, something like that.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay. And then once we go through all the likes, we'll go through the dislikes. So I'm ready with my die, Brian, when you're ready.
Yep, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, roll.
Okay, I got a 16.
Oh, I got a 2 this time.
All right. Okay, so we'll start with our likes. Okay. So, and now, so I think we're trying to focus on just more of our personal feelings and experiences with this, the mechanic, the episode mechanic, right?
Yeah.
So the first one I have, and mine aren't in any particular order. The first one I have listed is, I don't know how to sum it up in one word, but basically, what I like about variable player powers is that kind of unique feeling that you get as a player, because you're different than everyone else. It just makes you feel like your character is special. I like that creates. So we've talked about how one of the things that I like about board games is the solving the puzzle, and I feel that putting that power is almost like creating just another piece of the puzzle that you have to kind of adapt your strategy based on the powers that you have, but not just the powers you have, but also the different powers that your opponents might have. I like how it creates those just like unique confrontations of this power and this power, either going against each other or working together, encouraging like just creative gameplay. And I kind of related to that, just the added like replayability that gives you too, like using Cosmic Encounter as an example, like with all the expansions for the version I have. I wrote it down here. There is like something like 230 races.
Oh, wow. That is, I thought it was like less than 100.
No. It's a lot, to the point where I've actually looked up online on how to cull that a little bit because they don't fit in the box. I want to fit in a single box. So there are some that through expansions have just better versions of other ones. So I've removed some of them just to get it to fit in the box.
Aren't the races just like cards? It's just a big card, right?
Yeah.
And there's 230 of them.
There's 230 of them. So I've taken out I think I took out about 30.
Oh, okay.
Or something like that. Maybe less, but I'm just like, I still don't think, like even with that, like that's a lot of combinations.
That's a lot of combinations. I think you could be playing that for years and not do.
I mean, I know that people play variants too, where you get two alien races.
Oh, really? So you mash them up together?
Yeah, and you just get powers from both of them. just to make it more chaotic. A big part of that game, again, you have to like the chaos, like how chaotic it gets.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my first thing I like about variable player power games.
My first like is so I said at the top of the show, I divided the games into symmetrical gameplay and asymmetrical gameplay. I would even say that you can break it down even further in that variable player powers they fall into what I would call variable goals. So like when we last saw each other, Brad, we played Rebirth, by Reiner Knizia. And that was a very streamlined game, very Knizia type of game. But as you gained monastery cards, they gave you specific goals that you could and should go for because they would earn you points at the end of the game.
Right.
So I would say that there's the variable goal side, and then we talked about this a little bit before about the rule breaking powers, which I think that like if you're going to approach variable player powers from like a symmetrical standpoint and make it very accessible, having that one thing that your character, you as the player, can break in the game that other people cannot break is a really simple, elegant way, I think, of achieving that goal of having variable player powers in the game. So for me, I
Right.
like it's either going to be variable goals or rule breaking powers, and I think if you could apply that to many games that are out on the market there.
Yeah. Again, I mean, I think that's kind of like it's kind of a similar thing, right? Like we're just talking about, like it's kind of switching up like your approach
Mm-hmm.
that you're taking in the game, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing I've got here is I have it listed as kind of the interesting social dynamics that come up in the game. So mainly, I'm talking about how it drives basically a lot of negotiation, and that negotiation is often based on players' perceived power of each other's, or the player's perception of how powerful each other's powers are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use Cosmic Encounter again as an example because the powers, it is clear that they did not care about balancing the powers in that game because the entire game is based on negotiation.
Yeah.
So if somebody has, like, I think I remember one of the alien races, the power is just if they ever win a battle, they win the game.
So never let them win a battle.
So you immediately know that if they're in a battle, everyone has to help to make sure they don't win that battle.
Right.
Right. So it drives a lot of the negotiation, and it's constantly changing, creating like a lot of dynamic like rivalries or alliances and things like that. And I enjoy that stuff, like kind of table talking and just kind of playing the social aspect of the game.
Whenever we've talked about Cosmic Encounter both in person and also on other podcast episodes, but whenever you bring up Cosmic Encounter, I also think about have you heard of a game called Sidereal Confluence? It's another like heavy table talk negotiation type of game.
You know what? When you first said it, I'm like, no, I never heard of that. But now I'm thinking about the name, and but I don't know if maybe you've talked about it before with me, but
maybe it comes up on the So
name
Very
sounds
Wrong About
familiar,
Games podcast.
okay.
Like those guys have played it before, and they've mentioned it a few times. But then when Sidereal Confluence comes up, I think about a game that I had bought a while ago because it was on deep discount called Empires.
Okay.
And the Empires is like 18th century, like old European powers. And they have the variable player powers. And one of them is like to your point, I forget the Cosmic Encounter thing. It's like if they win a battle, they win a game. Like I remember playing as, I think it was like Prussia or something. And Prussia's ability is like, you can do this, like this action, I forget what action it is, as long as another player agrees to it.
Oh, okay.
So like you could do whatever, but you have to get another player to agree to it.
Yeah,
and the game is all about trading.
Acquiring. Yeah. Okay.
So it's like, okay, well, like I want to do this thing. Well, what are you gonna like? I'll agree to it, but what are you gonna give me for it?
Yeah. What do I get out of it?
Yeah. And that's one of those things. So I think it's like, yeah, that is really cool because it's like, oh, okay, I get to do that, but now I have to work with the other players in order to like give them something to allow me to do it.
Right. Yes. I that is the kind of thing I like for sure. Like that, again, I mean, I called it social dynamic. It's more, I like it. I should call it social manipulation. Like that's what I like.
I'll do my second like now.
That was your second like?
No, I didn't talk about my second like yet.
Oh, I thought that was your second like.
No, I was just I wanted to insert Empires as a game in there as something I played in the past. My second is that I think that with variable player powers, out of all the mechanics we've covered so far in AP Table Talk, I think that this is the one that allows, I wrote here in my notes, it allows designers to quote unquote spice the taste. So you like as a designer, you can be like, I'm going to introduce a card that says every time you collect like 3 green tokens, that's an extra point at the end of the game, like at the very light end. Or you could go like vast or root, very heavy asymmetrical end. And then everything in between that, I would consider like quote unquote falling under variable player powers. And you can go really heavy, you can go really light, you can kind of go in the middle, you can like spice to taste it as a designer. And I think that's a really nice flexibility with this mechanic overall.
Yeah, I remember thinking when I first learned about Vast,
Yep.
is that it seemed almost like the game was an exercise in design to see whether they could make a game where everyone played so vastly different and had different objectives, yet still have a balanced game.
No pun intended.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean that's what it felt like. Like when I remember, I think you introduced it to me when we played at Apaxa one time, and I was like, "This sounds
Yeah,
crazy."
I had heard
Is this
about it,
really
and then
a
I
game?
saw
Yeah.
people were playing it, and I think
Yeah.
it did get a lot of popularity. It just
Yeah.
got overshadowed when Root came around.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna ask my game group if anyone still plays Vast because I really feel like
Right.
it fell off the map. You know?
Hmm. Yeah, I just think I don't know if it's just because Root just polished everything about Vast, maybe,
Yeah.
and just kind of made it obsolete.
Mhm.
But
wanna do your
okay,
third
so
like?
yeah, I'll come on to my third here. One of the things I like is, again, we're talking about this kind of personal experience, almost like a role playing element that I
Mhm.
enjoy, especially when the variable player powers are introduced in a way that's very thematic.
Mhm.
And I mean, you maybe even gathered this from my examples that we talked about. Oftentimes, what I liked the most about it is in Battlestar, those variable player powers were very thematic. We talked about the old Dune game,
Yep.
the way that you won as Benny Gesserit, very thematic, those kind of things. I really enjoy that. It kind of draws me in, and it helps to create kind of those memorable moments in games where it's like, oh, remember we were playing this, and you were such and such, and I was this, and I managed to do this with my special power and pull out the win or whatever. Like, I feel like you get that more often when you have those confrontations with variable player powers.
Yeah.
I mean, I can think about a number of times in Battlestar Galactica where that happens, where it's the variable player power is the thing that caused the outcome, whether that was a win or a loss.
Right. Right.
Again, because they had negative ones in there, right? So it's like, oh, I needed to do this, but because I was so and so, I couldn't do it.
And speaking of other space theme games, I'd say like Star Wars Rebellion, same way. I
Right.
remember when we were playing, I was
Yes.
like, "Oh, you're producing 3 more Star Destroyers this round,"
Yeah.
and I have no ground troops at all, like on this planet that I'm trying to.
In fact, I think they did better. So there's the other Star Wars game that I play, Outer Rim.
Yep.
I think what they wanted was a game where you could create your own Star Wars stories.
Mhm.
But I almost feel like the stories that were created out of Star Wars Rebellion felt more like you were creating a Star Wars story.
Yeah, I would say so.
Um,
And I think that didn't Star Wars Rebellion also have a Rogue One like expansion?
yes,
remember that?
yes.
Yeah.
Added more heroes and like
You could play as like Jyn Erso
characters
and
and things like
Cassian.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that was the only one that fit in the timeline.
Right. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. Should I go on to my third
Yeah,
and
go
final
ahead and we can.
third and final like I should say.
Yes.
So I brought this up in the second point, which I said allows designers to spice the taste. I'm going to take this again from the player perspective, and I think that for the most part, if it's a game that is symmetrical and has variable player powers, you as a player, I think, are empowered to be able to choose how and when you use them. Like some games, I know that
Right.
this is one of the first modules. It's like if you want, you can play with secret objectives or hidden objectives or special objectives, or you could play with these variable player cards. And I think that it gives designers a lot of agency, but it also gives players a lot of agency in determining how complex and complicated. To your point, Bri, you said with Cosmic Encounter, like if you want, you could just give people just the green aliens, right? Because those are usually the easiest to play, or you could ramp
Right.
it up and play something a lot more difficult. And I really like that flexibility with this mechanic.
Yeah, actually, one that comes to mind is Eclipse. So that game, I think they suggest if for your first games, so you have different races, which are your variable player powers.
Yep.
But on the back of everybody's race is the humans.
Yeah.
Which is your generic race. Like every sci-fi show, humans are the generic.
Terrans.
And so you can play that game where everybody just plays as humans.
Yep.
So now that's one where you are building yourself up. So everyone will build out differently, but you start all the same. But I think that game is much more enjoyable to me when everyone is playing their unique races.
Right.
But yeah, if some people don't want to do that, they can always just flip over to the human side.
I didn't even know that was an option. I feel like
Yeah.
it is almost...
I don't know if many people... I think the only time I think my friends play it is if they get the race they don't like.
Oh, and they switch over to humans?
Because it does push you kind of into a strategy. So if it's not the way, it's not your play style or whatever, and they're just like, I'll just be humans.
That was another point that came up in my notes, Bri, about with variable player powers and playing like a specific race that like it could be quote unquote like too much on rails. Like if you get this one race, you're like, oh, I didn't want to play like that, but now I have to because that's the race I drew,
Well, speaking of that, sorry, did you wrap up your third like?
Yeah, I'm done with my likes. You want to get into dislikes?
So let's move to dislikes.
Okay.
And I'll talk about my first dislike.
Okay. It's familiar.
Is that in certain situations, you can feel that you're kind of stuck in a certain role or play style. So again, what we're talking about, and I think I do have Eclipse in this one because I feel that it has come up for me. It's not as prominent for me, but it has come up. And I generally take it as a challenge to like, okay, I'm going to have to try to play this way because this is the efficient route, right, for this variable. But I can see that as an issue. Like in Eclipse, I think one of the ones that I don't like to play as much is I think it's the Planta or whatever. It's like they're the plants alien race. And you really need to like spread out and claim territories very quickly in order to like make use of them. And that's not my play style. Like I like to build up a little more like turtley. But I know that people feel that way in Scythe sometimes, which I'm surprised we never talked about Scythe at all yet this episode.
Oh, it'll come up. It'll come up.
Yeah. Is that faction player mat combo. Where you could feel almost stuck in that, well, I kind of have to do this because if I don't, I'm playing so suboptimally. Right. So I don't like that feeling of it. I don't feel it comes up that often, but there are specific circumstances where I feel that way.
Right. I think that being on rails can be a good or bad thing. I think that if you are an experienced gamer and you're like, I want to play this way, it's bad. I think that if you are like just new to the game or just new to the hobby, it can be a good thing because it's like, oh, okay, this is good. I have a direction. Because like how if you're new to games and you're like, I really have no idea like what's going on. I think having that player power, it's like, okay, well, I have a direction to go in. Like if I'm playing, you said Planta, I think, for Cosmic Encounter.
The Planta, I think it's the Planta race.
You're like, okay, well, I don't know anything about this game, but all I know is that I got to just get on as many planets as possible. And that's something I can do. So I think that, like from a player experience, depending on who you are, it being on rails could be a good or bad thing.
Yeah, actually, an example is Terraforming Mars. So one of the small expansions, the Prelude, is I don't think I'd ever play without it. It just gives you some starting resources.
Is that the corporation? It gives you a corporation too?
I think that's what it is. It's some corporation. And basically it just nudges you in a direction. Because that game can be fairly overwhelming when you start out because there's a lot of options and nothing's really bad. So you don't really have any focus. So that Prelude just kind of gives you well, you know what? If you start this way, you get a little bit of a head start.
Right.
So it just gives you that little bit of direction. I think the times where I feel that has been a negative experience for me is when you're stuck in something that you consider is like, I keep going back to Cosmic Encounter. There are some races in Cosmic Encounter that are considered a hard counter to another race. So one that I can think of is the Regenerator race. Is that so when you have confrontations, the losing side, your ships go into the middle. It's called the warp. And then on your turn, you can slowly get ships back from the warp. That's a standard mechanic. The Regenerator, I think they get their ships back from the warp faster. There is a race called the Void. Their ability is that when they win an encounter, all the ships that they were against get removed from the game entirely.
Oh, I see.
So they don't go into the Void. So if you're playing as a Regenerator and someone is the Void, it's not that you can't win. It just feels that for me, it feels like my player power has been completely nullified by this other player power. And again, that's why that game is not for ultra competitive people, because those things exist because they have 200 something races, right? So we try not to play combos like that. So we'll generally give like 3 races to everyone and you can kind of choose one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's kind of where I have the negative experience of this like single role thing, is like when your single role feels completely nullified, that kind of can be a negative experience.
Yeah. And I think that speaks to my first dislike, which is, like with Cosmic Encounter, I think is a very approachable way to introduce variable player powers. But as the explainer for many games in the Banditos group, I think that like true asymmetric games, I'm talking about like Vast or Root, is like a hell to teach. Especially for like Root, because it's like I have to teach you 4 different ways to play the game, because if you don't understand how this other player plays, then you're going to get completely smoked. So I think that like, like if your group is up to it, it can't just be one person that wants to play Root. Like everyone that's going to play
everybody's got to buy
Root,
into that one.
Yeah. Because like one person trying to do that rules teach is like, I would not wish that on like my worst enemy. It's like so hard to teach.
That's a homework game. Like for my group, if we're gonna play that, everyone needs to pre-learn, and then we're still gonna go over stuff before we start the game.
Oh yeah. That's the thing. Like it's like an event game, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why I guess a lot of people play it on a regular basis, because they're like, they've already made the investment.
You've invested a lot of your brain into that game.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't like it from a teaching perspective. True asymmetric games.
Yeah. So I also had that in my dislike. Just the increased learning curve, and for me, the negative for that, for me personally, yours is the teach. Mine is that those games, even if I enjoy them, it just means they don't get to the table.
Yeah.
Like, so games again, like Root, I have played my copy of Root 1 time, I think. It just can't get stay. I don't play often enough, and I don't have a regular enough group for it. Additionally, I find that because of that extra learning, the game length will get long.
Yeah.
And we usually have a specific window to play in, especially on your first play. It's going to be extra long, because everyone needs to learn that, that added load of not only learning your game, but now you got to learn everyone else. So again, it could be a challenge from a design standpoint. Like the games that do it well, where it's not a huge overhead to know everyone's powers and still feel like there's a big variety, right?
Right. That was your second dislike?
Yeah, so my second was similar to yours for a different reason, I guess.
We shared it.
Yes. All right.
My second dislike
sorry, your second. That was your first, right?
Is again, like, it's not necessarily going back to the teach, but I don't like it when a game has too many edge cases. Like, I think, like, there are definitely going to be games with edge cases, but I think that when it's like, always do this, and this, unless this happens.
Right.
And then, like, if I need, like, a complicated flow chart to figure it out, I'm just kind of, like, tuned out at that point. Which is why, like, I feel that if we're considering, like, Pandemic and maybe, like, Cosmic Encounter to be symmetrical games with variable player powers, I really like Scythe in that you get this really cool, like, faction mat combo. Like, you'll get Rusevet and you'll get Industrial, which I think is a banned mat combo because it's, like, too strong.
Gotcha.
And then it like gives you some sort of like Rusevet's ability, I think it's an action selection game. So you normally cannot select the same action as the last turn, but with Rusevet, you can continue to do the same action.
Yeah.
And then Industrial as an industrial mat gives the player an additional bonus to producing stuff, like on their map. And I feel like it's like, okay, well, if you play Cosmic Encounter, you play Pandemic, if you want to play this other, like resource management Euro game, then like here's another like variable thing that's set up and everyone's a little bit different. Here's a thing that you can do that breaks the rule, and also here's like another incentive for your economic engine. And I think that's like a lot more elegant than just having a ton of edge cases.
Right. And the way what you spoke about before too, like something like Rising Sun, where it's like everyone's got the same rules, but then each one just gets to break this one rule.
Yeah,
and then that keeps it manageable, right? And it's funny because you talk about Cosmic Encounter in that symmetrical, in that everyone has the same goals. We're talking about complexity and that, and I think that very much depends on the races that you pick. So
because there's that one race where you just have to win one battle, right?
Yeah, and not only that, part of the reason we give multiple, like we'll dish out like 3 or 4 races and just pick, is because some people don't want to remember all the things that some of the more complicated races have to do.
Yeah.
Because there's one, I can't remember the name, but I think depending on how many colonies you have, your power changes. So there's a big long list. And if you have 1 colony, now your power is this. And if you have 2 colonies, your power is this. And the idea being that, and some of them are weak powers, like weaknesses. So like you very wildly,
and
as the game goes along.
Right? It's like you could have a really strong power
just
and a weak
up
power.
And down and up and down.
Oh, that's crazy.
And again, it's fun, but it's chaotic and it's something to keep track of, right?
Yeah. So could you like tank a player by giving them an extra like colony just so they would have a weaker
that's
power?
a strategy, right? Is like you want to keep them at this power because it's weak.
Yeah.
Right?
So give them an extra colony.
Right. I think one of my favorite races, just from a thematic standpoint, I think they're called the Moocher.
Yeah.
So when they their power is called barge in. So when they fail to make a deal on an encounter, so when you encounter, you can fight or you can negotiate and try and make a deal. If you fail, then usually the deal is 1 for 1 colony on one of my plants, 1 colony on one of your plants. If you fail, they have these galactic couch tokens, and you get to put a couch in their system and put your ships on it, and it counts as you having a colony. So no matter what, you just get to have colonies in their
because you're mooching
system, because you just mooch into there. And then once you have guys in the couch, anytime people have a conflict in that system, you can force any ships you have on the couches into to ally, even if you're not invited.
Oh, really?
So that then it gives you a lot of heads up. So again, just from a thematic and just thinking about these galactic moochers that just live on couches floating.
We'll just be here a few days.
But it does create this weird edge thing that people forget about, because it's like, oh yeah, I forgot that you can just force your way into these things and stuff. So some people like it, some people don't. I think it's hilarious.
I think it's funny. Yeah. You want to do your? Are we on third dislike now?
Yeah. So that was your second.
Yep.
So my third, kind of related. I talked about kind of feeling stuck in the role or having your power negated. And one thing that is a hard thing with variable player powers and how you design it is imbalance. Now, my complaint is not about them being imbalanced. My complaint is that when I play games that are highly variable, there's always complaints from people about how it's unbalanced. Rising Sun is a classic one. Yeah. Where people are just like, oh, you're going to win because you have Koi. They're the most powerful or whatever. So my complaint is really just hearing about the imbalance. Yeah. Because part of the game to me is like, well, you just have to figure out how to overcome that. They might be. And I mean, I think there's been a lot of discussion on that on the BGG forums about the clans. And I think someone had a huge spreadsheet of like games and just said, nope, statistically they're balanced. So I think people don't argue about that anymore. But again, I think that when it comes to a game that has wildly different variable player powers, putting negotiation in is a way to counter that imbalance. Right. Because the negotiation ultimately is how you say, okay, well, if they're so powerful and everyone knows that they're the most powerful, then everyone's going to make sure that they team up on them. That's the counter. Yeah. So yeah, my complaint is complaints about imbalance.
That's really funny, Brian, because that is very similar to my third dislike, which is could make designing a balanced game a nightmare. And I think, and I want to couch this, not to bring it back to the moochers, but I want to couch this in the fact that like the games we've talked about are not like positional abstracts. You're not designing Hive. You know what I mean? Right. Yes. Where you can balance, like these games don't have, nothing fits into like neat boxes. Like you said before, like with Rising Sun and also with Cosmic Encounter, if everyone realizes that this person's player power is very powerful, then it needs to self-balance by the players conspiring against that other player. But one, I think you have to assume that like, like people know the game. They have the game literacy to recognize that. And they're grokking the fact that like, okay, well, this player is clearly going to take the lead. We need to do something about it. Or like the thing with what I said about empires, like you can do this one thing so long as another player agrees to it.
Yeah,
First time I
exactly.
introduced that to like someone, they're like, I'll agree. I was like, whoa, hold on. That's not a, you just can't agree for free because if you do that, they're going to become super powerful.
Yeah.
Like you got to do something. They're like, but it just says so long as someone agrees. So it's like,
Yeah.
but you don't have to agree. You don't have to help
Yes,
them.
and that's understanding that aspect of that game is very important.
Yeah.
And actually, it's interesting. I've talked about my regular game group before, and there's another guy, Tom, and myself are kind of usually the stronger players in the group.
Yeah.
And I mean, a meta has developed in our games that we play, whereas as we're setting up and picking our things in a game that has stuff like this, and we pick things or pick our starting location or something, we immediately start talking about how the other person has such a big advantage and we need to stop him early, otherwise he's going to run away with the
But it's only you and Tom, right?
But it's only me convincing the other people about who is the one who has the slight edge.
Wait, have you played in that group, right? Has anyone been like, since you and Tom are like fighting each other, since you're like the top two like winningest players, like a third person just like sneaks in for the win?
That's often what happens.
Oh, really?
Me and Tom are battling out directly.
Yeah.
And depending on if we take too much attention, or we focus too much attention on each other, that's our balance, right? We have to make sure that we're not only focusing on each other, because then other people come in while we've been preoccupied and take over.
And sweep in.
So it ends up working out. Like other people win, but like generally when it comes to efficient playing and things like that, like we can definitely like read the game quicker.
Right.
Like he's very quick at picking up a strategy and generally not so we played a lot of X-Wing together.
Yep.
And he would come up with these crazy lists of combos that like I'm usually pretty good at seeing broken combos. But he'll come up with weird strategies that I wouldn't think of, and would seem crazy to me, but he could pull them off. So they would work for him. That's what was nice about X-Wing is it's kind of like you play to your style. So he would have some plan in mind, and it would work out for him sometimes. And that's why that game was fun for us too, because we can kind of you just build your list how you want it, right?
Right.
But yeah, so that would happen where we focus too much on each other, assuming that is the alpha threat, right? Is each other, and then just like people will slide in, take it.
Classic mistake, Bri. You gave it up to the third player.
Well, that's why it's the constant. That's why it's evolved into just like convincing everyone else on the table that they have way too powerful of a position right now. We all need to gang up on him.
Need to stop him.
So I think that wraps up our dislikes.
Yeah. Do you have anything for bonus round, Brian?
Any bonus rounds? Or not really. I think we've talked about most of the stuff I've got listed here. Is there anything else you felt we left off here?
I want to talk. One thing that we didn't really talk about in depth, Bri, is engagement and tension. I think specifically with this mechanic, and I would say that. You discussed it a little bit. Like I think a pro for variable player powers is that, like Cosmic Encounter, there's a personal investment in it.
Right.
There's also, I think, an innate curiosity, because I think that if you play games like Root and Cosmic Encounter regularly, you're gonna want to try out the other factions. Like Root is easy if you play with the same group. Just rotate factions. Always play like a different faction. And like with Cosmic Encounter, you could play years. With different alien encounters. So I think that this makes the games much more replayable if it's a game that you already enjoy.
I think I had that in kind of as a side in one of my likes, but
right.
Creating that replayability with the combos is awesome. For me.
Like Cosmic Encounter is the one with, I think you said 230 different alien powers.
And people are still creating variants because that's not enough for them. So
right. But the cons, I think, are like you said, with that one alien power, there's analysis paralysis, because there's basically like you have to track how many colonies you have and what specific power you have right now. There could be underpowered roles, like you said, like Cosmic Encounter is not really balanced. The balancing comes through the actual gameplay with the other players.
Yeah, they're not hiding the fact that they can't balance that many races.
Yeah, I know. And like I like the fact that you allow players to just you get 3 races and you get to choose. Because otherwise, like you could get a really bad race or one that, like you said, is a hard counter, and then you're just going to be completely disengaged from the game if you had to choose.
And I mean, it works the other way for me too. Like I want my power to be interesting. Like there are some powers that are just, in my opinion, kind of boring.
Yeah.
So it's just
Like
that's
humans?
kind of boring. They do have the humans in there, I think.
Oh wait, what is the game where you flip it over and you become human? I thought that was Cosmic.
Oh, that was Eclipse.
Eclipse.
Is that everybody could just be human if they want. I don't know if they call them humans or if they're like Terran or something like that.
Yeah.
But they're the generics that are like not they don't excel in any one area. Like
yeah.
But I think there is a human race in Cosmic Encounter. I don't remember what their ability is. I don't actually think they're boring, but they're poked fun at in the card in a humorous way that they are supposed to be the boring race, but I don't actually think they are.
What they would be.
I mean, I could probably.
I guess you could look it up, right? I'm trying to think about like what is the human trope in like Star Trek Enterprise? You know, like the Andorans always make fun of the pink skins. Got to test my Star Trek lore, Brian. The Federation is founded by humans, Andorans, and Vulcans. Those are the first 3.
Those are the first 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Always makes encounters easier to win. What? You have the power of humanity. As a main player or ally, after encounter cards are revealed, use this power to add 4 to your side's total.
Oh.
If this power is zapped, however, your side automatically wins the encounter. Oh, okay. So yeah, it is kind of boring actually. So you just add 4 to your. So like in Cosmic Encounter, your ships, the total of your ships, and then you play a card with a number on it, and that's the battle. And whoever has a higher number generally wins, outside of all the crazy rules. So they can add 4.
So humans are kind of like a tiebreaker, right?
They can add 4. Now there's a card that's a zap card, and that negates any alien race's power.
Oh, okay.
So so there's I think it's called the loser race, and their power is when they win they lose. Oh,
I was about to ask if there's a race like
yeah, and when they lose they win kind of thing. Yeah. But their power is optional. That's where their power. So when you're going up against them, you don't know whether they're going to use their power. And I think you put your cards down first, and then they decide whether they're going to be the winner or they're going to use their power or not.
Yeah.
So they don't see the cards yet, but you have to commit to something before you know whether they're going to switch it or not.
Oh, that's interesting.
So that's what makes it interesting.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a double bluff thing, right?
Yeah.
So you could, if you're going up against them, you could zap them so that they can't use it on that specific encounter, right?
Right.
So if the humans ever get zapped, they just win. So I don't know why you'd ever zap them, but
yeah, it seems kind of boring now that I know.
Oh, I guess if you have an ally with you, the ally could zap you because you can zap anybody.
Oh, I see.
And force the win then.
Oh, okay.
But yes.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
Their thing is a little boring. Like,
all right. I didn't have anything else for bonus round, Brian.
I think that's it for me too. So, so I guess that wraps up our variable player power episode of AP Table Talk. If you'd like to hear more content like this, please be sure to subscribe. You can also check out more of our content, projects, and other information about us at universityxp.com.
Thanks for joining us. We'd love it if you took some time to rate the show. We live to lift others with learning, so if you found this episode useful, consider sharing it with someone who could benefit. Until next time, game on.